It was a pretty normal morning. I've said many times that if I'd known that Tuesday afternoon was going to be Armageddon, I would have packed differently when I went to work Tuesday morning. Because that morning, we'd been briefed that the fire was moving away from us. That the evacuation for Gregoire had been lifted and we were down to a voluntary shelter-in-place order. It was smoky, but you know, I've been here for 8 years and I remember boreal forest fires that are far away, but the smoke just settles in the valley. You don't really think twice about it. I came outside from where I was eating, I paid the bill, came outside and looked up and thought, well, okay. I may possibly have swore a bunch. Smoke, it was black. The sky was black. There was this nasty red tinge to it, and you thought, oh, that's not just smoke that's burning close, fire that's burning close enough to tinge that smoke. I got inside, reported down to the command post, things were underway. Basically did my mea culpa for being out having lunch when Armageddon started. Rounded up my officers, told one of them call the entire list and tell them to either get here or get safe, because the evacuation orders were starting to come over the radio. Tell me what I can do for you, tell me I can help you. I was one of the people who put in the calls to transit to say that we were going to need support from the municipality to move our patients. All in all, we used 17 transit buses and 3 coaches. It was probably about 35, 36 degrees, which is, remarkably unseasonable for May. But I went outside, and while it was still hot, the wind was blowing. And the wind was blowing because the fire was making its own wind. And when I did that math in my head, I said, okay, this isn't just where we're going. I had 2 officers who basically drove up to the barricades that the RCMP had set up to keep people from driving toward the danger and said, I have to go to work. Well, no sir, you can't. Well, I'm a peace officer at the hospital and I have to. So, thank God, because they were remarkably helpful. We were loading 2 buses at a time. Our food services manager, our CPSM manager, all of these people were very involved in marshalling their people and making sure that wherever we went, we would have equipment and we would have food when we got there. Making sure there was bottled water on all of these buses, right? There was a nurse and a doctor on every bus. We used FMFD ambulances to evacuate our emergency department, our truly critical patients. Landed helicopters on lawn to fly out the worst of the ICU patients, the people who couldn't travel by bus. And we went 167 kilometers north. I didn't want to go because that's my building. And we were at Slave Lake. Protective Services stayed through the whole thing. The thing is that even though the fire was close at Slave Lake, it wasn't that massive, it wasn't that aggressive, and we were given orders to go, so we went. We cleared the building first. In fact, we cleared it 3 times. There was nobody left in the building except 3 people from the Slave Lake Fire Department, ironically enough, who were supporting FMFD, who'd stayed to basically stand on our roof and hose down anything that landed on it. We weren't leaving until the fire department was set. A man and a woman show up. She's pregnant. I looked at David Mateer and I said, when was the last time you delivered a baby? Because I haven't done it in a really long time. It's a long story, but there was a time several years ago when I was there for that event and participated in assisting with it, but I really wasn't keen on doing it in our parking lot while Abasand was on fire. So, we had to arrange EMS coverage for her. A bit problematic considering EMS is also the fire department, and the fire department is a wee bit busy. I drove past these RCMP constables at every intersection, and I thought, I hope you guys get out too. Because at that point I really thought my city was done. I really did. We drove with the hammer down for about 20 minutes, and then we found ourselves in the Snake, which was 16,000 people fleeing in the same direction we were. But there was this sound, there was something hitting my truck. There was this clunk sound. It was the burning particles of combustion. It was ash. It was chunks of burning ash that was landing on us as we were driving. It was people's houses. It was trees. It was shingles and God knows what. Driving to Fireback normally takes about an hour and a half. It took us until 2 o'clock in the morning. Coming in the other direction were fire trucks from Syncrude and Suncor and CNRL. And I'll tell you this, the rest of my life, people want to crap on the oil companies. We wouldn't have pulled it off without them. Without Suncor, without Fireback to go to, we wouldn't have pulled it off.